everyone, it's Jesy. In today's video I'm going to be doing, I think, my first ever wrap up in TBR on my channel. I've always wanted to do one, but I've never gotten around to doing one. I'm going to be sharing my wrap up for December and then my TBR for the month of January. So without further ado, let's get into it. So 2017 wasn't really my reading year, but December happened to be the month where I read the most. I read 3 books, which is horrible, but like I said, I read nothing in 2017. I read Warcross by Marie Lu. Going into Warcross, I was actually kind of scared that this book would be really similar to Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, but this book really surprised me. Warcross is actually the very first Marie Lu book that I have read. As you may know, Marie Lu wrote the Legend trilogy and the Young Elites, which are both very popular series that I haven't read. Warcross follows our main character named Amika Chen, lives in the US, and 10 years ago the Earth became encapsulated by this game called Warcross, and somehow Amika, while watching the games, managed to hack into the system and was visible to the entire world watching the games going on. The creator of the game saw her, loved her skill, and contacted her for a secret project. Working for this project, there are many challenges and twists and turns, and she gets to play the game, which is really cool. This book was super unique and had some really cool futuristic aspects and stuff like that. So I would say if you are a fan of Ready Player One, definitely pick this book up. It is unique in its complete own way, and it's super good. I love this book, and I believe I rated it like 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was definitely one of my favorite reads of 2017, and such a great way to end the year. Before Warcross, I had read Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray, which is the 3rd book in the Diviner series. Initially going into this book, this whole time reading it, I thought that this was the conclusion to the series because I thought this series was going to be a trilogy, but by finishing this book, I'm pretty sure it's not a trilogy because the way it ended is so open-ended and there needs to be more. The Diviner series is one of my favorite series. It has to do with this band of misfits kind of that come together in New York City, and they are called diviners, and they have special gifts, and they had to solve this murder in the first book, and it just goes on this whirlwind journey. And I'm not going to spoil the 3rd book for you if you haven't read the series, but I definitely recommend this series too if you are a fan of Harry Potter, the 1920s, all that stuff mashed together. It's such a great series. Lastly, in December, I finished up and read This Shattered World by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. I read These Broken Stars, the first book in this series, right when it came out a few years ago, and ever since I had never finished the series, but These Broken Stars is one of my all-time favorite books. Finally, I got around to picking up the 2nd book in the series, and I absolutely loved it. If you have not read These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, definitely pick it up. You will not regret it. This sci-fi series is so full of action and mystery and romance. It's like a perfect balance of everything in one. It is like one of my absolute dream series, and I'm so happy that Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner came together to write science fiction books because they are incredible. Which leads me into my TBR for January. Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner have written a new science fiction series together, starting out with the 1st book called Unearthed, coming out this month. I'm so excited to read it because I love their writing as a team. Science fiction is my ish, so I'm so pumped for this book. Even though I have no clue what it's about, but I think I want to go into it knowing nothing because that's how I went into These Broken Stars. That leads me into my 2nd book of my January TBR, which I have already in the beginning of January, so it's been a good reading month so far. I want to / already did read this month is Their Fractured Light by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, which was the 3rd book in the These Broken Stars series. Such a fantastic and wonderful conclusion to the series. I love how all the characters in each book come together in the end. Like I said, pick this series up. I really want to read Batman by Marie Lu. After reading Warcross, I really want to read more from her. What better time to read a new Marie Lu book when Batman is coming out? So I'm super pumped to read that. So that is also on my January TBR. Next up, I have this book right here called Roseblood by A.G. Howard. Now this book has been sitting on my bookshelf for a long time, and I didn't have any interest in reading it until Kaden and Caitlin have always been talking about the Phantom of the Opera. I've never seen, listened, or just heard anything from Phantom of the Opera until I watched the movie 2 nights ago, and now I am obsessed, and I really want to read this book. It looks like there is a female Phantom of the Opera, which I think is really cool, and even while watching the movie, it was really funny because I was like, Mom, why are all females like the ones getting kidnapped? Why can't the female be like the captor? So I remembered this book and I really want to read it like ASAP. I'm obsessed with Phantom of the Opera and now I just want to see it on Broadway. Next up, we have this book right here called Dreamland Burning, History Isn't Over Yet by Jennifer Latham. I believe this book has to deal with time travel. It really intrigued me because I love historical fiction. This says, some bodies won't stay buried, some stories need to be told. This is what intrigued me, the first line of the synopsis. When 17-year-old Rowan Chase finds a skeleton in her family's property, she has no idea that investigating the brutal century-old murder will lead to a summer of painful discoveries about the past, present, and herself. So this deals in a time 100 years earlier, and she's like solving and discovering this mystery. It's during the Tulsa race riot of 1921, so it's gonna have some history bound within it. Super pumped for this book. I love historical fiction and I want to read more of it. And I want to read more of it out of my comfort zone of just reading World War II historical fiction because I absolutely love that. Once I saw this new release, I had to pick it up when I got a gift card for Christmas. Next up, I'm super pumped for this book because this is actually my friend's book that came out recently called Cloaked and Shadow by Ben Alderson. In case you guys didn't know, my friend Ben, he has his own publishing company called Of Tomes, and this is his novelization. And look how beautiful the cover is. High fantasy. I am here for it. I am so pumped, so excited. Thank you so much for writing this, Ben. Let me read the back description for you all. Heartbreak becomes a distant concern when Zachariah is taken to the elven capital of Thessalina, where he is forced into King Delior's new legion of shapeshifters. But Zachariah isn't a shapeshifter. In truth, he doesn't know what he is. Zachariah joins forces with new friends as they soon find themselves embroiled in a clash between 3 elven continents. With a war on the horizon, Zachariah must learn to use his latent powers to fight and protect those he loves before they are destroyed. I can't wait to read it this month. Next up, after already having seen The Greatest Showman twice and probably going to see it for a 3rd time, I've been really into like that circus, colorful vibe of dancing. Leading to that, I also read The Night Circus recently, so I wanted to read another circus book kind of like that. So I looked at Caravelle on my bookshelf and I was like, bruh, I want to read you ASAP. I added it to my January TBR and I'm so pumped to read this just because I know nothing about it and I think I kind of want to go into it knowing nothing. All I know is that it is about a circus and it looks cool, judging a book by its cover. Don't judge me. Next up, following my 2018 New Year's resolution of reading 1 classic a month, I really want to get to this book because my friend Hayden has been talking about it and he is reading it and he wants me to read it because he loves this book. The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I don't know what this book is about, but I know it's a really popular classic, so I really want to read a classic each month, so this is my classic pick for January. Already currently reading and almost done with. I'm more than halfway through. It's Zenith by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. This book is full of a badass band of female characters who are space pirates who get caught up in a situation they would rather not be in and have to go through with this deal with somebody that the main character hates, and it's full of action, star-crossed romance, and AI, and such unique characters that I'm so excited for this book and I'm really enjoying it. If you are fans of Star Wars or Guardians of the Galaxy, I definitely recommend that you pick this book up when it comes out on January 16th. I will also have a review for this book once it comes out on my channel, so stay tuned for that, and I will be interviewing Sasha and Lindsay too, so if you have any questions for them, be specific about that and leave your comments for them down below. My last book on my TBR for January is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This book mainly has to deal with Russian folklore. It is really fun so far and I've really enjoyed the stories told in this little girl Vasilisa coming to with her special abilities, I guess you could say. I've really enjoyed this book. I'm actually currently reading it right now along with Zenith. Ever since I just picked it up, all of a sudden everybody is talking about it, I feel like, so I'm really glad I jumped on the bandwagon right now because I feel like it's getting really hyped. I believe that's because the 2nd book just came out, so I definitely am gonna be picking that up for next month's TBR because after I finish this, I'm gonna want more. I'm really enjoying Catherine Arden's writing, so if you're a fan of Anastasia or just like Russian folklore, this is definitely a book you'd want to pick up. Okay guys, that pretty much wraps it up for my January TBR and December wrap up. I hope that you enjoy this video. Sorry it took me so long to do something like this. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my channel down below and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'm Jesy and I will see you next time. Bye! Oh no, oh no, oh no, dropping all the books. Okay, let's just stop.